Good morning, Dragon. We hope your evening aboard Endeavour was restful, and we are planning to resume all nominal communications at this time. How copy?
Night on Endeavour, and great to talk to you, Mike, and the team, and congratulations, by the way. Hopefully the new edition is doing well.
Thanks very much. Young Joseph Solomon is doing great. He's at home, hopefully letting his mom sleep a little bit.
All right, well, the crew has been woken up. If you didn't get the song right off the bat, that was Planet Caravan by Black Sabbath. So that is your first wake-up song played on a Crew Dragon. Planet Caravan, Black Sabbath. We know from their interviews pre-launch, Bob and Doug, definite fans of 70s, 80s rock, and also into the 90s, which I was like, yeah, guys, thumbs up on that one.
Station 02. Good morning. And Dragon Tally Ho, I know you guys probably see it on the video cameras, but with the naked eye we can see it as well. Looking like a nice, shiny, new friend.
And Station on 2, good morning to you as well, and thanks for pointing that out. I hadn't, but I see it now.
Well, good morning, everyone, from Endeavour. We had a great night last night, got to get a little sleep, and as you can see from the video, we are just passing over Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. Beautiful day pass right now. And heading northeast up towards Central Asia, and then we'll work our way out the western part of the Himalayas there, and work our way all the way out over, looks like Japan, out into the Pacific for this particular pass. If you look closely in the video, you can see just a sliver of moon kind of halfway between the surface of the Earth and the window pane as we're flying at about 17,500 miles an hour around the planet. Getting pretty close to ISS. When we were in the night part of this orbit, we actually got to see ISS out the window, which was pretty neat to see it for the first time on this trip. Bob's panning the camera back now, just kind of taking a look at around the cabin just to see how things look after a crew's lived in Dragon for an evening. We last night, the way things went, we had our normal activation, got out of our suits, had some a little bit of dinner, then reconfigured the cabin for orbit ops. Did a couple other events, including the media event last night, and then we proceeded to get ready for bed, which in space takes a little bit longer than I think on planet Earth. We had to pull out sleeping bags and sleeping clothes and all those kinds of things. Got kind of cleaned up, and then we ended up sleeping just like we are right now, right in our chairs, which was actually a pretty comfortable night's sleep. One of the things we did yesterday was actually manually fly Crew Dragon for the first time, and I want to compliment the teams at Hawthorne. Just a spectacular job with the simulator, as the vehicle flew exactly like the simulators out in Hawthorne. So just want to thank the teams that did all the work on that particular training device, as well as all the modeling and the GNC. It really worked out well and was a joy to fly. And I'm guessing it was the first time a space vehicle was flown with a touchscreen before. So we got that going for us.
Well, hello, folks. Welcome aboard the Dragon Capsule Endeavour. Doug and I had a good night's sleep last night. We were surprised, I think, at how well we actually slept aboard the vehicle. A little bit quieter than Space Shuttle, a little bit more, I guess, environmentally controlled, so we didn't have CO2 pockets or things like that building up, giving us congestion, which was super awesome. He talked a little bit about the changing and going back and forth between our suits and our sleepwear and the clothes we're in now, and managing all those things. But we've managed to keep the ship pretty tidy at this point as we went through the night's activities and then got into our preparation for today. We did get our suits dried out, get them packed away into the black bags that are stowed in the outboard seats. If you look closely, you can see we've got them strapped in with the regular straps that you'd use for riding into orbit, and then over against kind of that former window location, there is you can see Doug's sleep bag there next to his crew notebook, and so that's how we're keeping all of our laundry constrained, floating all around today. Doug mentioned the manual flying and how well the simulator matched that. I'll tell you that for the ride uphill on ascent, they just are never able to capture that at the simulator. And so I think Doug and I were talking about all the observations that we had all the way uphill. While it was an exciting ride, I think we got a couple of minor surprises just in terms of the way the vehicle is kind of moving and shaking and taking you into orbit. You can tell that it's fighting against the Earth as it makes its way into space, and that's just something a simulator can never truly simulate. We do have a friend on board with us. We introduced you to Trimmer yesterday when we did our little activity with the camera. Trimmer also had a good night's sleep. I know that both of our sons are pretty happy about that with their pet dinosaur making it into orbit and having a good night in zero gravity. We plan, once we get on board the space station, to reunite Trimmer with Earthy and plan to bring both of them back to Earth. I know that we'll get Trimmer through the safety brief and get all the education that's required so that we'll have a safe operation while we're on board the space station should anything come up that we need to be prepared for. I know that Trimmer's also looking forward to helping us out with EVA preparations, just in case we need to do a spacewalk, and so we're looking forward to that as well.
2 minutes until LOS.
Let's see, I think we'll go ahead and bring the camera out a little bit, and we'll show you what's going on underneath the seats on board the Dragon capsule Endeavour. We've got quite a bit of cargo that we'll be taking to the space station. We've got some hard racks as well. The hard stowage that we have can also be swapped, these hard containers here, for powered cargo, which lets us bring back refrigerated things from the International Space Station. And if you're super lucky, we don't have that this time, but I bet you some crew will take ice cream to the International Space Station with those. That'll be exciting for those crews to get to have that. We do have some emergency equipment labeled in red, which is nice to have and easy to see, as well as the other stowage bags that we have down here as well. I don't know if you were watching closely during our strap-in and insertion on the pad, but we did have the seats rotate at one point. We were down in an easier configuration to ingress the vehicle in, so when we climbed aboard, the seats were rotated down, and after we were strapped in, they rotated up our activities. And so those seats will rotate again in preparation for splashdown when we eventually come home. So if any of you all know Uncle Kirk Shireman, as we call him, you could ask him when we're coming home and make sure that he starts having a plan for us.
Well, we appreciate you having coming on board again with us on Endeavour, and enjoyed showing you around both inside and out. The next time we'll be on video for you. We'll hopefully be on board Chris Cass in just hours. So we appreciate you stopping by and from Endeavour.
Dragon SpaceX, comm check on Big Loop.
SpaceX Dragon, loud and clear now on the Big Loop. How us?
Wonderful to hear. I have you loud and clear as well. Station SpaceX, comm check on Big Loop.
SpaceX International Space Station from Expedition 63. Wonderful to hear all of your voices there in Hawthorne. Congratulations and good luck to everybody today.
Dragon SpaceX, the ground is go for approach initiation. We will be enabling the maneuver shortly, and our updated expected maneuver start time is 12:11 UTC.
At this point, Dragon now approaching waypoint 0.
Yeah, and really at this point, it's all relative maneuvers, a very slow and steady approach to the station. Of course, that small translational test with Bob and Doug commanding Dragon to do some small manual piloting maneuvers.
At this moment, we're less than a mile away from station. Dragon just under 1,200 meters away, continuing to close the gap. Pretty slow rate right now, moving in at only about 1.7 meters per second. We're going to be standing by. There's going to be an internal go-no-go poll about passing waypoint 0. That should be coming up in about 7 minutes. We'll continue to listen in with the teams. We're expecting Dragon's arrival at waypoint 0, which we heard its trajectory has converged on. So that means Dragon pointed in the right direction on its way to that waypoint just 400 meters below the space station.
Dragon SpaceX on Big Loop. The ground is go for approach 0. We will be enabling the maneuver shortly. The expected maneuver start time is 12:56 UTC. Reminder that Dragon will nominally continue approach through waypoint 1 toward waypoint 2 without stopping at waypoint 1.
Next Dragon on the Big Loop, we copy go, and 12:56.
Good copy.
Here's a cool view from the station camera. You can see Dragon approaching. We've just got those red and green lights on either side of the capsule. It gives folks looking at the capsule a sense of orientation of the vehicle. And here's a view from Dragon. Dragon's got a number of relative navigation sensors, as well as a couple of cameras that can look forward that will hopefully get some additional views for as we get closer to docking. So here's a good view of the space station. Here's a great view from a camera behind Bob and Doug. Bob in the right-hand seat in the pilot seat, Doug in the commander seat, or the CDR seat. They've got a display in front of them that's the forward view. It's got some procedural information on the left-hand side that's telling them criteria that they're looking for. Anything off nominal, they could, of course, step in and issue a command if necessary. And then on the left-hand and right-hand screen were actually their piloting controls. So when the vehicle is in an appropriate state to receive those commands, they can just hop in and use those touch-sensitive gloves, issue commands to the vehicle's attitude control system. Just about 240 meters away from the space station. We're pretty much lined up right in front of it along what we've been calling the V-bar, and you may hear that on comms. There's a very nice shot of the Dragon vehicle from cameras aboard at the space station. You just saw one of the Draco thrusters there firing, just to keep it in that hold attitude, flying right in front of the the station.
Yeah, we have 2 cameras on the very forward port of Node 2, so right where Dragon's going to be headed following the completion of this manual piloting test.
Dragon SpaceX on Big Loop. C2V2 link reconfiguration is complete. The soft capture ring extension is also complete.
Dragon copies on the Big Loop. Good ring extension and C2V2 reconfig.
Dragon, that completes the manual piloting demonstration. I only had to twist Doug's arm for 2 or 3 minutes to get him to allow me to deactivate the piloting controls.
We copy. Excellent. Thank you. And with that, we ask that you, from the display used for manual piloting, please go to audio settings and adjust a gain setting for seat 1 or 4. And in addition, we would appreciate any handling qualities evaluation of the proximity piloting possible.
We've completed the gain setting adjustment for seat 1, and I'll turn it over to Doug for the handling qualities quick look.
SpaceX Dragon on the Big Loop for the handling qualities. It flew just about like the sim, so my congratulations to the folks in Hawthorne. It flew really well, very crisp. It was a little sloppier and wide, just like we saw in the sim, but all the other axes, as well as closure and opening, were all just as per.
Excellent to hear. Thank you.
Station on the Big Loop. In step 2, review of steps 3 and 4 is complete. Crew is on the International Space Station is ready for docking.
Station Houston on the Big Loop. We copied the review of 3 and 4 complete. International Space Station ready. Thank you.
Right, and at this moment, that approach is continuing, still moving in at about 0.3 of a meter per second. Dragon's coming up on just 100 meters away from the space station.
So the very top there is the nose cone on the spacecraft. We're
inside 100 meters, continuing to close. Again, we're going to have a short hold at 20 meters. Teams will just do a final check, and then they'll give Dragon the go. We're expecting it to be pretty brief. We should get to that hold point in just about 4 minutes, moving at our current pace.
I think you can see a meatball and American flag on that on the spacecraft. The NASA logo, of course, referred to as the meatball. I think there was some spirited discussion about the meatball versus the worm during ascent. And those are, you can see those logos. They're that structure on the fairing structure is actually what the Super Dracos are housed in. Of course, all of those are deactivated now, only used for launch escape during the ascent portion. Nose cone right at the top of the vehicle, and you can see sort of the ceiling surface. Those four circular slots right underneath the nose cone within that red ring are the Ford bulkhead Dracos. That's what we were using while we were conducting all those burns, the 5 burns to get to this point.
Dragon SpaceX on Big Loop. The ground is go for approach 2. We will be enabling the resume shortly. As a reminder, ensure your visors are closed prior to Dragon's departure from the waypoint. And once Dragon is inside the crew hands-off point, retreat and breakout are not permitted. And for your awareness, we have sunset in a little less than 8.5 minutes.
Dragon copies all on the Big Loop. Go for docking.
Station Houston on the Big Loop. Houston and station are now go for docking. Chris, you can monitor per steps 3 and 4. 3 and 4 in 1.104 Crew Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Copy steps 3 and 4.
Next Dragon on the Big Loop. Our visors are down.
Copy, visors down.
With the Crew confirming their visors down. We should see the final approach resume.
Dragon on the big loop. We are inbound from approach 2.
Copy inbound.
Station copy.
And we're going to be racing that sunset. The approach has resumed. Dragon closing in. We're inside 20 meters. And yeah, that crew hands-off point should come up in about 3 minutes or so. Right before we get that final docking, it comes about 20 seconds prior, or just about 2 meters away from the station still. And that's just the crew not issuing any abort commands. At that point, it would be too late. And so any aborts would be executed automatically by Dragon itself. So we're closing in at less than 1/10 of a meter per second at this point.
You can see the service section Draco is just doing all these very small, minor attitude corrections. Really, the autonomous docking system at work, making sure that the vestibule and the soft capture system is lined up with IDA2. It's the international docking adapter. You can see much more clearly there the hinge mechanism for the nose cone. Those 4 black circles are the forward bulkhead Dracos, not to be used at this time. And then, of course, the pedals of the soft capture system.
And we are just 5 meters away. Again, we're racing that sunset. This Dragon continues to close, 4 meters to go.
Those shadows of the space station on the vehicle. Yeah, you can actually see the centerline camera pretty clearly there, sort of with the contrast of the sun right now.
3 meters to go. Two meters. We are inside the hands-off point, the chop, the crew hands-off point. 1 meter to go. Soft capture complete.
Dragon and SpaceX. Soft capture confirmed. Stand by for retraction and docking.
And we just heard it, soft capture. We have docking, that coming at 7:16 a.m. Pacific time, with the station and Dragon flying 262 statute miles right over the border between northern China and Mongolia.
Dragon SpaceX docking sequence is complete.
Dragon, we copy docking complete. To say that it's been a real honor to be just a small part of this 9-year endeavor since the last time a United States spaceship had docked with the International Space Station. We have to congratulate the men and women of SpaceX at Hawthorne, McGregor, and at Kennedy Space Center. Their incredible efforts over the last several years to make this possible cannot go overstated. I'd also like to thank Kathy Leaders and her team of the Commercial Crew Program of NASA. An outstanding job by everyone. Last, I'd like to thank the men and women of the National Aeronautics and Space Agency. This is an incredible time to be at NASA. 3 new vehicles to be flown, continuing mission in low Earth orbit, and then to the moon and Mars. We thank you again and congratulate you.
Dragon arriving. Crew of Expedition 63 is honored to welcome Dragon and the Commercial Crew Program to welcome aboard the International Space Station Bob and Doug. Glad to have you as part of the crew. Well done. Bravo Zulu.
Okay, happy. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Endeavour, this is Houston. Bob and Doug, welcome to the International Space Station after your spectacular rendezvous and docking of the first Crew Dragon vehicle. For the first time since the retirement of the Space Shuttle, you have completed a historic ride to the ISS and have opened up a new chapter in human space exploration. On behalf of the flight control teams here in Houston and in Hawthorne, California, and to our SpaceX colleagues, bravo on a magnificent moment in spaceflight history and on the start of a new journey that has changed the face of space travel in this new era of space transportation. Bob and Doug, good luck, and we look forward to working with you on board.
Dragon SpaceX, Bob and Doug, we here at SpaceX are honored to have been part of ushering in this new era of human spaceflight. On behalf of the SpaceX and NASA partnership, congratulations on a phenomenal accomplishment and welcome to the International Space Station.
Well, thank you, Anna. We appreciate all the good words and everyone thanking us, but it truly was a magnificent effort by the entire team, the SpaceX team, the NASA team, and a team across America who was able to pull this off and bring human spaceflight again to our nation. Thanks for everything. Happy to be aboard.
And with that, the hatch is open, 12:02 p.m. Central Time, 1:02 p.m. Eastern. Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley opened the hatch to the International Space Station after launching from American soil on a U.S. vehicle for the first time in 9 years, the first time ever for a commercially built spacecraft. We have Bob Behnken from SpaceX Demo 2 mission entering the International Space Station. Followed by Doug Hurley. Demo 2 crew now aboard the International Space Station. They entered at 12:22 p.m. Central Time. The station at the time was 262 statute miles over Turkmenistan. Crew all gathered in front of the cameras at the Node 2 forward end of the International Space Station. Just behind them is the hatchway to the Crew Dragon on its Demo 2 mission.
Station, this is the NASA administrator. Can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear, sir. Welcome to the space station.
Thank you, Chris. It's good to see you. And welcome to Bob and Doug. I will tell you, the whole world saw this mission, and we are so, so proud of everything you have done for our country and, in fact, to inspire the world.
We sure appreciate that, sir. It's obviously been our honor to be just a small part of this. We have to give credit to SpaceX, the Commercial Crew Program, and, of course, NASA. It's great to get the United States back in the crewed launch business, and we're just really glad to be on board this magnificent complex.
Senator Cruz, would you like to say a few words?
Well, congratulations, gentlemen. The eyes of the world are upon you, and everyone is proud of you. All of America is watching you, and today and yesterday represent big, big days. We're looking at a decade since we've had American astronauts launched on an American ship from American soil. And I can tell you, I sat with my wife and kids in our living room watching on TV yesterday, and I suspect we did what just about everyone watching did, including both of you, which is held our breath as it took off. And we're glad to see you've landed safely. We're glad to see you've docked. And so let me ask you, that Dragon is an amazing vehicle. How does she handle?
It flew just like it was supposed to. It was we had a couple opportunities to take it out for a spin, so to speak. Once after we got into orbit last night, and again today, about 20 minutes before we docked. And my compliments to the folks back at Hawthorne and SpaceX for how well it flew. It is exactly like the simulator, and we couldn't be happier about the performance of the vehicle.
What do you guys hope to accomplish in your time on the International Space Station?
Well, while we're on board the space station, of course, with the new spacecraft, we do hope to put her through her paces, and so the good ship Endeavour is going to get a lot of checkout over the next week or two here, and hopefully we'll be able to declare her operational, and Doug and I will be able to take some burden off of Chris and his crewmates, Ivan and Anatoly, so that we can keep the space station operating at its peak possibilities. So we're looking forward to contributing any way that we can, and like I said, trying to keep space station as productive as possible.
As a country, we're in the midst of a tough week. We're seeing protests, we're seeing a lot of anger, we're seeing violence. And I have to say, this launch and y'all's docking is a powerful inspiration of what we can do when we come together, of the power of unity, the power of ingenuity. And so I guess the last question I would ask you is since you have the opportunity to address, in particular, all the young people in America, what would you tell them in terms of what we can do when we can come together?
You know, that's a great question. 9 years ago, just about exactly 9 years ago, we docked with Atlantis on STS-135, the last flight of the Space Shuttle program, a 30-year program. And folks at SpaceX, folks at NASA, the Commercial Crew Program put their heads together and worked diligently year after year, making sacrifices, working hard. And then 9 years later, American launch capability was restored, and this is just one effort that we can show for the ages in this dark time that we've had over the past several months to kind of inspire, especially the young people in the United States, to reach for these lofty goals and work hard and look what you can accomplish.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. We have another very special guest here that represents the Johnson Space Center. And of course, it's my good friend from the House of Representatives, Dr. Brian Babin.
Thank you. It's great to be with you guys. I was at the launch yesterday. I just want to say a huge congratulations. And, you know, there was a thunderstorm that blew in about 30 minutes or 45 minutes or so before liftoff. And it was in doubt there for a minute, but it was just an enormous achievement. I just want to say thank you for you guys. Really appreciate what you're doing for America, and the crew that's already been up there, Chris, and your two fellow Russians. To give you a great big thank you as well. I have a son who was a Navy SEAL, and I want to thank you for your service there too, Chris. And also, I would like to just see what I know you've said that the craft, the Dragon, handled very well, but I want to see how it compares with the Space Shuttle.
Well, thank you, sir. It certainly has been a long endeavor for us and our namesake spacecraft. We're proud to have her on board the International Space Station after all that the teams around the country and across America have done to get us here today. As far as a comparison with the Space Shuttle, both Doug and I took a few minutes while we were accomplishing the approach and docking to, in our spare time, talk a little bit about it. We were surprised a little bit at how smooth things were off the pad. The Space Shuttle is a pretty rough ride heading into orbit with the solid rocket boosters. And our expectation was, as we continued with the flight into second stage, that things would basically get a lot smoother than the space shuttle did. But Dragon was huffing and puffing all the way into orbit, and we were definitely driving or riding a Dragon all the way up. And so it was not quite the same ride, the smooth ride, as the space shuttle was up to Miko. A little bit less G's, but a little bit more alive is probably the best way I would describe it.
I'm going to turn it over for a second to my deputy, Jim Morehard, who's been a great deputy at NASA.
Gentlemen, congratulations. You know, Jim's mentioned going to the moon. And yesterday and today, one, you've inspired the Artemis generation, which is our next generation. And that's what this is about. It's really bringing the children that we've got and our grandchildren forward, so they'll be the ones that are going into deep space. This is the dawn of a new era, and we just thank you for being at the beginning of it. Thank you so much.
It was absolutely our pleasure, but it's just a huge team effort across the board from SpaceX to NASA that made this all happen. We were just the lucky guys that got to fly the rocket yesterday.
I have a question for Chris Cassidy. You know, our crew here decided to be about 3 days late. You got to work them overtime, I presume, now to get them caught up on all the activities that they missed out on. Any plans for them?
Well, the day they missed out on was a good one for them to skip. It was Saturday house cleaning, but I took care of it for them. We'll catch up next weekend. But in all seriousness, we've got a few things to take care of tonight. Make sure we're all safe and we know the plan in case something bad happens. And then we're looking forward to some operational stuff later in the month. Maybe we'll get outside and do some spacewalks. And our efforts in these coming weeks will be in that effort. So we're all super excited to have 2 more crewmates to the Expedition 63 team.
Awesome. And of course, here in Houston, this is the home of the astronaut office, and the Johnson Space Center is led by Mark Geyer, and I'm going to turn it over to Mark for a few comments.
Thank you, Jim. Hey, it's great to see all of you there. Good to see you, Bob and Doug. I know we talked a few days ago. You look a little taller than I remember you. And but I also want to thank Anatoly and Iman and of course Chris for what you guys have been doing since you all arrived. And I know there's been a ton to do, and you've been really busy, and I appreciate that. So I also like this visual of our international partnership. We have had a tremendous partnership with Roscosmos, and we will continue to do so. But it is nice to see crew arrive from this side of the space station. So that was pretty cool after 9 years. I did have one question for Chris, though. What might you do to ensure that Bob and Doug stay longer? Do you have any strategy there?
Well, we'll slow down the rate of which I'm eating food, and maybe we can stretch out our consumables a little bit. But that's a great question. We'll have to come up with some conniving scheme here in the next few days.
And of course, Mark Geyer has an amazing deputy, Vanessa Weiss, if you'd like to come and say a few words.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, guys. You look really good. I just want to say on behalf of everybody here, we just want to thank you. It was an amazing launch, and we love seeing the docking. You guys all look really good. Just thank you for all that you're doing, and we can't wait for you to return, but not too soon. Station wants you to get a lot of work done, so looking forward to all of that. But thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Vanessa. We appreciate that.
All right, we also have with us Steve Jerzik, who is the Associate Administrator for the agency. For people who don't know what that is, that, of course, is the Chief Operating Officer of the agency. But he also ran the flight readiness review for this mission. He did really an amazing job, and I can't say enough about his leadership at the agency. Steve, if you'd like to say a few words, ask a few questions.
Hey guys, it is just great to see you all on the station. I can't tell you how my adrenaline shut down when you guys opened the hatch. I mean, I've just been on edge ever since yesterday, and the weather cleared. I can't tell you how great it's been to see you on station. It has been a team effort. I felt like the last 2 years I've kind of been part of the team, working through issues, and it's been a heck of a year and a half with Demo 1 and the in-flight abort test, and working through issues like parachutes and the escape system, and I just could not be more proud of the team for getting to this point. It's amazing, and you obviously have been part of that. I really appreciate you all showing up in Washington, D.C. at our reviews, and because the last thing we do at those reviews is look at you all, because you guys are the risk takers, and make sure you're okay with where we are and where we're headed. So I really, really appreciate that. I really appreciate your active participation in that. And I could not be more, like I said, more proud of the team, and congratulations. And it is awesome to see you guys on station.
Well, thank you, sir. We're just proud to be a part of the team that got to bring space flight back to the Florida coast. I appreciated the comment earlier that it was nice to see a vehicle come to the forward portion of the space station, but I'll tell you what, that's the only way Doug and I know how to do it. So thanks to the team for providing it to happen our way. We appreciate that.
I just want you to know the president came to the launch and the vice president came to the launch. About half the cabinet was at the launch. We had members of Congress and members of the Senate from both sides of the aisle, and this was an amazing moment of unity for the nation. It was an amazing moment for the whole world to look up. In the midst of the coronavirus pandemic and some other challenges, we were able to have this very, very special moment where we could all look at the future and say that things are going to be brighter tomorrow than they are today, and you and the NASA team and the SpaceX team gave us that opportunity, and for that we are so, so grateful. I would also be remiss as the NASA administrator if I didn't promote what comes next, and of course this is the beginning. We are now launching to low Earth orbit again, but we will soon be going to the moon. We will be going to the moon sustainably with commercial partners and international partners. We're going to use the resources of the moon to learn how to live and work for long periods of time. Ultimately, we're going to take all of that knowledge and we're going to go to Mars. And of course, this time when we go to the moon, we go with a very diverse, highly qualified astronaut corps that includes women, which is why we call the program Artemis, named after the twin sister of Apollo, and she, in Greek mythology, was the goddess of the moon. This is the beginning. There is so much more to come, and I'm glad that our representatives of the Johnson Space Center are here because we're going to be asking them to fund this project. And what an amazing day that you guys have given us. So thank you from not just me and the people here, but from the United States of America and people all around the world. I'm more popular on Twitter than I've ever been, and it's because of you guys. Thank you.